conversations. Here, we do not gatekeep, but we give you access and we aim to help you switch your mindset from lack to abundance. I am your host, Fire Ash, and if you're ready to take your mindset to the next level, I just want to say, hey, friend, welcome to the table. So, on today, I have with me my sister from across the world. Her name is Kristen, and I just want to tell you a little bit about her. So, Kristen Smith is a Christian life coach, emotional wellness mentor, and a gut specialist, health specialist, who helps faith centered women move from resentment and emotional exhaustion into peace, clarity, and connection without abandoning their faith or their marriage. Through a body first, faith honoring approach, Kristen teaches women how unresolved emotions, chronic stress, and gut health imbalances affect their thoughts, relationships, and spiritual peace. Her work is especially supportive for women navigating mixed faith marriages, emotional overwhelm, and the quiet way of trying to hold it all together. And so, Kristen, I want to ask you the question that I love to ask every guest that comes on. Who is Kristen beyond the bio?
Oh, beyond the bio, I I think it's just interesting because I'm in a different place now than I
Mm-hmm.
because all my kids are grown up and so I get to just decide what I want to do and I love learning. I
Yeah.
I feel like I could just dig into learning and in so many different areas like
Mm-hmm.
spirituality and I just finished my bachelor's degree for computer software, like programming, right? Like just
Okay.
I just I feel like I just want to do everything.
I mean,
And
you
I
have
love it.
time now.
Well, I mean, I don't. I mean, I keep myself busy, but yeah, I
How
don't
many
have to
kids
take
do you have?
I don't have to take care of other people as much as I used to. So it works out. I have four girls. So
Four
yeah,
girls?
yeah, they're all adults. They're 28. My oldest is 28. My youngest is 21. Yeah.
Wow. I can't say, I'm not a mom, I'm just a doggy mom. But I have had people like stay with me back to back years. And last year I was like, oh, I'm an empty nester. The world is mine to have. Let me go and experience. So I kind of feel like I understand.
Yeah, yeah. My oldest daughter actually is having her fourth baby in 2 weeks. So I'll be a
Oh,
grandma again, fourth grandchild, and it's so fun. I love it so much.
oh,
It's like,
and you don't even look like you're old enough to be a
yeah,
granny.
thanks.
Have just young skin, young blood. It's
Well,
running through you.
we'll talk about that a little bit, but I think it has everything to do with the gut health.
So you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I want to dive right into the gut health because when we initially talked, I was so intrigued, and then just like as the time has progressed, I'm like, oh, I really want to know. So, before I get into my questions about gut health, I really want to know, how did you even get into this lane or this field of study? Like, what was the journey that landed you here?
Well, it's actually really funny because I actually have a 30-year background in technology. Like I love,
Oh wow.
like I said, I just finished my bachelor's degree back in October in computer
Hmm.
programming, and that was kind of just finalizing everything I'd done for the last 30 years anyways. And
Hmm.
I have a corporate job where um, I coordinate the certification exams for
Hmm.
technology software, like for drafting and architecture and engineering.
Oh wow.
Autodesk. I don't know if you're familiar with Autodesk, but so I facilitate the creation of those certification exams. So I love technology. I think it's so fun. Like
Wow.
I'm the people think I'm funny because I'm always like, ooh, an update, yay, yes, let's do it. And everybody else is like, no.
No.
And I'm like, no, I want the update. I can't wait. It's so exciting. And I love social media. I think social media is so fun. And again,
Hmm.
people are like, but I'm like, no, I think it's fun. I like it. But so I have a background in all of that. And
Hmm.
with that came this career where I sit at this desk all day long,
Yeah.
every day, right? I mean, I had my four girls growing up. So I, as a mom, obviously I was chasing them around a little bit, but for the most part, I was still not really taking care of myself.
Yeah.
I was taking care of everybody else and not really myself. And I sat here at this desk and didn't really get much exercise, didn't really eat, you know, ate a lot of processed foods.
Yeah.
Um, and it was about 6 years ago where well, funny thing is one of my daughters actually got diagnosed with Hashimoto's. She had rashes all
What's
over her
that?
body. It's like it's a thyroid. autoimmune disease. And I
Okay.
didn't really know what it was when she got diagnosed it. She had rashes all over, so we took her to the doctor and he diagnosed her with the Hashimoto's, and I didn't really know what it was.
Mhm.
So I heard a friend on social media talk about how she was using these supplements to manage her Hashimoto symptoms, and so I started
Mhm.
paying attention to what she was saying. And as I started learning what she was doing and the ingredients and the way that the supplements work that she was
Yeah.
using, I was like, I think I need this because I had stomach aches all the time. I had
Mm.
heartburn. Like I had gained quite a bit of weight after having those four babies and then just sitting on my at my desk all day long, and I just didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't really I didn't really get into it because of the weight necessarily. I know there's a lot of people out there that, that are really trying to lose weight, but for me, that I had weight that I needed that I had gained and could have lost, but that's not the reason that I was really trying to figure it out. It was because I didn't feel good. I didn't have any
Yeah.
energy. It was, yeah, I just felt like garbage, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that. It's just no energy, stomach aches, heartburn, and a lot of those like inflammation and all that kind of stuff. And so when I started paying attention to my friend though and learning about gut health, that's what she was
Mhm.
teaching. That's really in what it comes down to is what she was teaching about because the gut is actually everything from our mouth to the other end. We always think
Mm.
about it as just our stomach. So I knew I
Literally.
so I knew I had gut issues because I had stomach aches, but I'm like,
Yeah.
people don't realize that anxiety and depression also comes, and like the serotonin that our body creates, which helps with natural mood, being able to, you know, have good moods normally and naturally, is
Mhm.
because all of that's created in our gut. And like melatonin is a hormone that's also created in our gut that helps us sleep better. So if we aren't sleeping good at night, sometimes that's because our gut is out of balance. So there's just so many things that, and it presents itself in different ways for different people. So over the last 6 years, that's kind of what got me interested in it and learning about it. And once I started realizing that just getting those nutrients in my body, and
Yeah.
I started to feel more energy. Like my stomach aches went away, and I started to have more energy. And it started out with me just like walking around the neighborhood instead of, just like 10 or 15 minutes a day at first.
Mhm.
And I started to feel better, and the inflammation started to go down a little bit. I mean, if, go on my social media page because I post about this quite often. But like just to see, I didn't even realize this was happening. But a couple of years after I'd been working on my gut health, I went back and was looking at pictures from me a couple of years before that, and I was like, oh, my face kind of thinned out. I was able to wear my wedding ring again that I hadn't been able to wear for years because my
Wow.
fingers were just swollen all the time, and just naturally getting those ingredients in my body and fueling my body a little bit more, it kind of helped heal from the inside. And it just all those symptoms started going away. And it was
Mm.
just, and then I started learning about it and I started teaching other people about it, and I've had hundreds of clients since then that, yeah, migraines, allergies, they're just like pretty much like any symptom that you're having that you're struggling with. If you go on ChatGPT or Google and just Google candida yeast overgrowth, because usually what happens is that bacteria in your body is just the bad bacteria is outweighing the good bacteria,
Mm.
and that's called candida yeast. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but if you just
Mm.
go Google candida yeast overgrowth and whatever symptom you're having, there's usually a connection to it. So it's just interesting how many things it
So
can help with.
so I want to know. I see where the interest came in. I want to know as far as taking it to like the next level. So like you started teaching people about it, but like what made you say I want to like actually take this seriously and offer this, beyond just oh this is just a hobby, but more so like no, this is what I know and I can help other people.
Well, it started out with the company that I started learning all of this from. Like they have a really good incentive program that it's easy to make money. Like by helping people around me, and started to help clients, and I started just people started asking me what I was doing. Like people were
Yeah.
just noticing. at first. My family and friends were just noticing what I was doing, so they would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd explain to them what I was doing. They'd be like, "I want to try it." And so it was really easy to make money from the very beginning in that regard. But when it came down to it, I didn't even understand, like I was talking about earlier, like how much the gut imbalance was affecting my moods, my anxiety, and like I had anxiety and depression, and I would cry in my closet all the time. I was having fights with my husband like over and over and over again. And there's a lot of other things that came into play with that, right? And that's so I feel like it was the physical aspect of healing that was the first step in my
Mm.
journey. And then because when you don't feel well physically, you literally can't even focus on your mindset, right? Like
Right.
it's like there's this knowledge in the background knowing that I need to get up and exercise, and there's this knowledge that I know that I need to like I need to have focus on the positive things and that kind of thing, but I didn't you don't even have the capacity to do it when you physically don't feel good.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I had to do was start taking care of myself physically, and once I started doing that, then it gave me the capacity to start working on my mindset. So I started doing some coaching. I signed up for a couple of coaching programs, like group coaching, where I would, just attend the calls and watch other people get coached. It's kind of amazing how much you can learn and incorporate into your life by watching other people get coached.
Literally.
I've never done
Hmm.
that. Like, it works so well. And I did that for a couple of years, and that really helped me um, on the mindset issues, like realizing that my thoughts around certain circumstances were what were causing my feelings, not, like, you're hurting my feelings to my husband, right? All these fights were
Hmm.
getting him. It's like, you're mean and you're hurting my feelings. But then there started to be this awareness around the fact that it wasn't what he was doing necessarily that was hurting my feelings. It was the way that I was thinking about what he was doing that was
Mm.
hurting my feelings, right?
That's good.
And and again, that's the second step in it, is like having that realization that there's a place for that. But then it's really hard. Like, there's a difference between being aware that I need to think something different and actually being able to think differently. Right?
That's true.
Because then it would be like I'd practiced enough that I felt like I was like, okay, well, I can tell that I'm irritated and upset right now because of what you're doing, and I know that I shouldn't be, and I should be able to think something differently, but yet you're making me mad. Right? So I'm just mad. And that happened a lot too. And so there was a whole other aspect of that where I actually I really, really loved being able to help people. And at
Hmm.
this point, a couple of years into this journey of mine, like, I was helping people with the supplements and learning how to take care of their body more. And I had worked on myself enough that I was starting to change my mindset around things, but yet I was still struggling with the triggers, right?
Yeah.
The things that were just like, oh my gosh, you're, like I just said, like, you're making me mad. I don't know how to, and then I would get frustrated and upset and yell and scream and cry, right? Um, so there was an aspect of that where I actually decided that I wanted to get certified as a life coach because I really enjoyed helping people and coach people on feeling better.
Yeah.
And when I joined this certification program that I signed up for, it actually included several breakthrough retreats as part of
Mm.
the program. And so I spent within a year or two of this journey of mine, um, I went to several of these retreats where it was like spending 5 days just ingrained in this container, right? Where it was like not at home in this container where we got to learn tools and practice tools and clear all this stuff,
Yeah.
right? And and I got to do that several times and enough that being able to go through those tools and clear all of the emotions that I'd been holding on to for so many years because of all the
Yeah.
things that had happened over the years, right? And sometimes it wasn't even my emotion to hold on to that I had to release, right? Like, there were some generational things that I
That's
had to
good.
process and some childhood things that I had to process, and being able to go through back and process those emotions actually got rid of the triggers. So that,
Wow.
yeah. And I kind of didn't. I mean, like I can't kind of haven't even really gone through the whole story of what was going on with my husband and I, but like we weren't in a very good place when I started this
Mhm.
journey. There was, and I I'm like so grateful now because we just celebrated our 30th anniversary this last year, and my four kids, their spouses, my grandkids all got, they all came. We were celebrating our anniversary, and everybody was just there and happy. And there was a point in that evening I remember where I just sat back and just watched the joy, and I
Yeah.
and I felt my own joy at that time, and I was just so grateful because it hadn't always been like that. There were so
Yeah.
many years of that 30-year marriage where there was so much resentment and so much, we were just so critical of each other for so long because
Mhm.
he didn't do it how I wanted him to.
Yeah.
Right? Right? And when it came down to it, there were so many things that I was holding on to around the fact that we didn't think the same. Like
Yeah.
for years I was trying to get him to be just like me. And when
Mm.
I finally realized that he's not like me, and that's not a bad thing, that's actually a good thing. And I
Yeah.
started trying to learn from him instead of trying to make him like me. That's part of the process that helped our relationship be so much better, right? And so then when I was able to go through this process of actually clearing all those emotions that I'd been holding on to from all of the things that had happened all those years, it has literally healed our relationship.
Mm.
So I feel like your original question was like, where did this start? And I feel like it started with me learning how to take care of myself physically.
Yeah.
And then it went into learning how to control my thoughts a little bit, right? Like be able to understand that it was my thoughts that were causing my feelings. But then ultimately being able to clear out all those emotions that I've been holding on to for so long and getting rid of the triggers has has healed our relationship. So I I mean I'm a little bit emotional about it because
Yeah.
I love that I'm able to say that I really enjoy being with my husband right now. Like I miss him when he's gone and I want to be with him, and we spend time together with the two of us, right? Our kids are gone, we're empty nesters,
Yeah.
and I actually want to be with him, and I think if I wouldn't have been able to understand all of this and go through these things that I have in the last 6 years, I don't think that would have been the case. I think it we would have still been miserable and
Yeah.
mad at each other and not feeling good and like all those things. And it's just so interesting because I'm like, there's no reason why we have to feel like that.
Yeah. I think something that I admire about what you said is that number one, you became aware that something wasn't right, not just like, with a relationship, but like within yourself, noticing like, my body is letting me know like something's not right. And even though it started with the physical, I love that it trickled into the mental and then it trickled into the emotional and being able to, I just love how it started, in one space, but it started working its way through many different aspects of you. And I just think that's so interesting, especially because like I would say like this last year, especially now, I've been finding myself like healing more and I feel like you're gonna have something to say once I say what's coming next. I realized that over the course of the last like I would say 2 to 3 years, I gained the most weight that I ever had been at, right? And it wasn't until recently where I felt like the Holy Spirit was telling me, you're literally carrying your feelings still. You're still carrying the weight of that hurt. You're literally just still carrying it, right? And when I heard this from the Holy Spirit, I started realizing like honestly, where I've been has been showing me where I've been mentally, emotionally, all across the board. It's been showing me, and it's so funny because I went to the doctor today, and we were having conversation about like I'm changing now, and we were having conversation. I was talking to a not, I think a dietitian or a nutritionist, something like that. I was talking to someone earlier today, and they were asking me questions like, "Do you know this about health? Do you know this about health?" And I was like, "You know what's funny? I know most of this stuff, but have I been doing it? No." And I told them, I said, if I'm being honest with you and myself right now, I've been stressed out. And something that I love in your bio is that you mentioned chronic stress. So that's where my next question is coming from. I didn't realize, and I might be answering a little bit of my question. I was telling the lady, I said, I feel like I've just been operating under this stressful space. And it wasn't until literally last week that I was like, I think I'm overwhelmed and I'm stressed out. And it was so funny because when she was asking me questions like, she was asking me like, how many vegetables do you eat? What's the kind of meals that you eat on a daily basis? Blah blah. And I told her, I said, if you ask me, the last few weeks it's been fast food because I don't have time because I'm stressed out trying to get all these things done and yada yada yada. And I said, I told her, I was like, I realized that I actually made the decision like I'm gonna ease my weeks up. Like I'm gonna start taking stuff off the table and building a routine that helps me instead of making me feel like I'm constantly stressed and overwhelmed. And even with me saying that and like just some of the things I've done just at the start of this week, I started realizing I've been holding on to the stress. I've been operating from this stressful place. That's I feel like that's one of the leading causes as to why I've been feeling the way I've been feeling. And so one of my questions for you really was diving into the chronic stress. I really wanted to know like what is chronic stress. If you heard it in what I said, definitely call it out. Talk to me about chronic stress.
Well, I personally think chronic stress is holding on to all those emotions, right? Like,
Mm.
okay, I don't know if this is true for you, but for me, I feel like I grew up. I love the spirituality aspect of this too, right? Because like church and religion and the gospel for me has been so important my whole life, which is actually one of the conflicts that my husband and I had because he didn't we got I he didn't believe the same thing I did for all
Yeah.
those years, and so that it was frustrating to me, and I didn't know how to deal with that. Um, but in regards to this, the way that I grew up and the way that I understood things, and again, I don't know that it was necessarily being taught this way purposely, but this is the way that I was taking it,
Yeah.
is that happiness, joy, peace, like those are all good emotions, right? And then anger and fear and hurt and shame and guilt, all those things are bad emotions. And so those are we're not supposed to feel those.
Yeah.
If we feel anger or sadness or hurt, like we're not supposed to feel those. We're supposed to push those down. And that's typically what most of us do, right?
Right.
I don't Are you familiar with Mel Robbins?
Hmm.
With She's got the book The Let Them Theory, right? That's like one of my favorite books. I love it
One of
so
my
much.
friends told me 2 weeks ago about the book, and I was like, I'm literally, you know what? I need to put on my Audible this week. I was trying to figure out what I will be listening to this week. That might be what I need to listen to.
She tells a story in there about how all of us are 8-year-olds in these adult bodies, right? So she talks about like an 8-year-old when they go to the store, like they go to the store with their parent and they're in the Lego aisle and they want to buy a set of Legos and their parent says they can't. So they're upset, right? They cry, they scream, they throw themselves on the floor and they throw this big fit. Well,
Yeah.
most of us are the same. Like we're 8-year-olds walking around in these bodies where something happens where it's frustrating or it makes us angry or it makes us sad and we don't know how to process those emotions, so we throw a fit, right?
Mm.
We throw this fit to get what we want, or we just push it down because we don't think we're
Right.
supposed to feel the sadness. We don't think
Right.
we're supposed to feel the anger. Well, she gives some statistics in the book, and I don't know if I'm getting the numbers exactly correct, but she said something around the lines of like when something happens, a circumstance in our life and something happens and we actually our body it takes like 6 seconds for for the emotion to well up in our body. And she
Hmm.
was like, if we were to actually just feel the emotion and let it process, it
Mm.
would process and move through our body in like 90 seconds.
Wow.
But instead, most of us are like, wait, I'm not supposed to be mad. I'm not supposed to be sad. I'm not supposed to feel that guilt because I just made a stupid mistake, right? I
Yeah.
So we push it down. So what happens is it gets pushed down in our body and it gets stored
Mm.
in our body, even though we're not really consciously thinking about it anymore. It's
Right.
stored in our body. So I don't know if you've ever heard of there's another book called The Body Keeps a Score.
Mm-mm.
And it's the concept of it is that every time we push down an emotion like that and we don't let it move through our body, it's stored somewhere in our body.
Wow.
So when we have symptoms like anything, anything, I mean, obviously, like if I fall down and I break my arm, then my
Yeah.
arm's gonna hurt, right? My body needs to heal, and my body's gonna hurt for the 6 weeks or the 8 weeks that my arm needs to heal.
Yeah.
But if I fall down and I break my arm, and 2 years later I still have a pain in that area where I broke my arm,
Yeah.
the concept of the book The Body Keeps Score is that there's emotions that are being stored in that part of your body. And so the
Mm.
pain that you're feeling is because your body's trying to talk to you. It's trying to communicate something to you. So
Yeah.
the idea is that anytime you have any chronic anything, right? Chronic stress, chronic pain, anything that hurts a lot longer than it's supposed to, and the pain
Yeah.
doesn't go away, the concept of that is that we need to pay attention to what our body's trying to tell us.
Yeah.
And when we do that, it's usually because there's some kind of an emotion that's being stored there that needs to be that our body needs to process. And that's kind of what the like as I was explaining earlier, when I went to these retreats and I attended
Yeah.
different retreats where for like 5 days or 7 days or whatever, we were just practicing and going through these processes to be able to actually listen to my body, let those emotions that I'd been holding on to for years sometimes, let them actually process through and let it go, then the pain was gone. Like I had some lower back pain that was
Yeah.
going on for 5 to 6 years. I thought I was going to have to go to the doctor and have surgery on my back because it was hurting so bad. I could not even bend up and down. And when I went through this process to clear out the and if you do the research, it's called German New Medicine. So it's another thing where you could go onto Chat GPT or Google or something like that, and you can Google according to German New Medicine, what's the emotion that's associated with this specific thing? Because they've done all of this research where, depending on the pain that you're having or the part of the body that it's affecting, there are certain, it might be because of this specific emotion, right? So if you, so with lower back pain, if you, when I went in and did the research on it, it was because feeling lack of support. That's
Mm.
where that pain is stored, which is exactly what I was feeling. I felt like my husband
Mm.
didn't believe the same thing I did. I didn't feel like he was supporting me in the things that I felt like I were important to me. And when I went through the process to go to process all of those emotions that I'd been holding on to, my back pain went
Yeah.
away.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow. You know what? That makes me think of again something else I was telling the doctor earlier today. I was telling her about how I think like 3 days ago my eye was twitching. It was twitching. And I noticed like one thing I've been trying to do is like pay attention to how my body feels. And something that I noticed, my number one, my eye was twitching, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not crazy, so what's going on? And in the midst of that, I also paid attention to how my body felt. Like my shoulders were tense, and my legs, it was like my legs, they were um I don't want to say they were constricted. They were tight. They were just super tight. And I had to say like, okay, Ashley, like unquench. Yeah, they were like I was like quenching my legs. And I had to say like, Ashley, like unquench your legs. Like why are your legs so tight right now? And when I was talking to her earlier today, I said I realized I was stressed out. I was so stressed out, and I told her, I was during that day. I was like, I'm gonna have to ask my doctor if something wrong with me because I'm twitching, my body is tense. And when I was talking to her today, I think that what happened was I told the truth. I think a part of and I'm not the expert here, but I think a part of like processing emotions is telling the truth. And
Oh,
when I started
absolutely.
telling her the truth, I was like, I'm not even twitching. I haven't twitched in the last few days. And I said, I realized that I was stressed out. Like my body I just felt so stressed, and I knew my body when when my eyes started twitching. I said, okay, I think you're trying to tell me something. I'm clearly overwhelmed, and I'm trying to play like I'm not anxious, but I'm very anxious right now. And it was just so funny once I told her that I was feeling this way, and just seeing the difference in today. Today I felt completely different because number one, I was telling the truth to myself, like, yeah, girl, you're stressed out. Now, what do we do about this feeling of being stressed? Something I wanted to ask you on the same topic is how, because you went to those retreats and you were able to start processing, what does it look like for someone like in the audience, or for me personally, what does it look like to actually like go through trying to process these emotions?
Well, so this is the amazing thing. So I don't know if you know much about our conscious and our subconscious brain. You know, our conscious brain is the part of our brain that we use. I, I've heard it all my life. Like we only use 5% of our brain. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Yeah.
But so that's our conscious brain that we're talking about. And the conscious brain, like is the part of our brain that we make decisions, we take action, we do all the things, right? And our subconscious part of our brain is the part that we don't connect with as often. It's the part that holds in the feelings, all of our memories, like all of those kind of things are in our subconscious brain. And the process of clearing those emotions is really just being able to get into a meditative or kind of a hypnosis state or a trance, right? And being able to actually just connect with yourself, and being able to, like you said, be honest
Yeah.
and actually say and learn the things that you need to from the things that have happened in the past. So like the things that I was holding on to were things because things had happened, right? Like I
Yeah.
had arguments or things with my husband, or like there's always traumatic things that have happened to us in the past. But
Yeah.
being able to go back and address those events and actually learn from them. But the amazing
Mm.
thing about this, and it's a little bit different than traditional therapy, because you don't have to address each event all the way back. Like there's hundreds of things, thousands of things that have happened in my 50 years of living. I
Yeah.
you don't have to go back and revisit every single thing that happened in your life. All you have to do is visit one. You need to and then connect with yourself enough that you can learn from it. And then your subconscious brain is an amazing machine enough that it can just apply the learnings to everything and it goes away. And it's quick. It doesn't have to take a long time. So like
Yeah.
when I was doing it, I think it did take a little bit longer just because again, we were practicing with each other, right?
Yeah.
I was practicing with somebody else who was just learning at the same time as I was most of the time. And so I didn't have it wasn't necessarily a coach that knew how to facilitate going through this
Yeah.
process. And and because of that, I've learned how to do that. So with my clients now, it's pretty quick. Like I can meet with a client for 3 to 6 months, and they are totally different from the time that I start working with them, and 3 to 6 months later, like their lives are totally turned around.
Yeah.
Like I have so many people that have like and it's so amazing to watch, to be able to just have that transformation in that short a time. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. Yeah.
So how the conversation that we're having, obviously it makes sense and it works, but you do have those people that'll be like, well, I don't know, I'm a Christian, is this new age stuff? But I mean, obviously it's just what it is, it's the truth.
Oh,
So when it,
I've been there so much, like literally too. Like I went to some of these things and I was like, what am I doing? This is so different than traditional, than just what I've been grown up with, right? Because I'm
yeah.
Christian too, and so especially when I mentioned like when I went to this certification stuff, I was like, I'm never good. I knew that it included getting certified in hypnosis, and I was like, I'm never going to tell anybody that I know that I'm certified in hypnosis. This is just so weird. The people in my world think it's so weird. So like I'm never
Yeah.
gonna tell anybody that. But it's so interesting because I'm like hypnosis gets a bad rap because we have all these, like you could go to a hypnosis show and they have somebody come up on the stage and quack like a duck, right? That's
Yeah.
not even what it is.
Yeah.
Hypnosis is really only is just following instructions. That's all it's basically just calming someone down enough that they're meditating. It's the same as meditating, or in the aspect of like my religion, it's I personally think the reason that in my religion we are taught to slow down and be still and
Yeah.
take the time to study the scriptures and to pray
Yeah.
and to meditate
Yeah.
and do all those things is because that stillness is the time that we connect with ourselves. It's when we can connect with the divine, right? And through that process, that's exactly how you can communicate or understand what your body's trying to tell you,
Yeah.
right? Because when you're running 100 miles an hour, which is what I was doing, I was
Oh
adding
Lord.
things to my to-do list faster than I was clicking them off, right? I mean, even when I started this process to get certified as a life coach, like I was still
Uh,
doing my bachelor's degree for my computer programming stuff. And my husband's like,
yeah.
"What are you doing?" I'm like, "I want to get certified as a life coach." He's like, "Don't you already have enough stuff going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, but right?" That was just how I'm just like always running 100 miles an hour.
Literally, yes. Oh my gosh.
But I'm starting to realize how important it is. And again, I think it's so funny because I've been taught it my whole life that it was important. I just wasn't doing it. I think you mentioned something like that, like going to the doctor, right? I know I'm supposed to
Hmm.
be better. I know I'm supposed to exercise. I just don't do it.
Yep.
And
Pretty
I think it's
much.
the same with being still. Like it's so important to actually just be still and be inside your own body.
Yeah. I definitely agree. It's so funny because I was talking about stillness a lot last week, the week before. Um, what I want to do right now is I want to take some of the words that the new age or the world has used, and I want to really just apply it to scripture for those who are listening. So, meditation gets a bad rep, right? But in the Bible, it tells us specifically to meditate on the word day and night. And
Mhm.
something that I've had to actively practice according to scripture is I've had to learn how to literally be still. And oftentimes I'll either put on some soaking music, because for me soaking music kind of just get my mind to shut up because it be going a lot of places.
Yeah.
Um or or sometimes I might have the word playing, and that's literally me being still. And I like how you said, like, allowing your mind to pretty much now be open. I love even how you said that hypnosis is a way to calm someone down to follow instructions. And just to take that back to like what I've been practicing, God has been literally calling me to what I believe is the secret place, as he says in the Bible. He's been calling me to the secret place, and sometimes that doesn't mean I'm talking. Like, I think what I had to learn, even about prayer and worship, is that it doesn't always require for me to talk. Sometimes I need to shut up so I can listen, because we can ask
Mhm.
God questions all day. It's so funny that we're talking about this. On Friday, I was trying to do some work, and I started my day. It was very, very busy. I come home and I'm trying to prep for a speaking opportunity on Sunday. So I'm like, let me just try to hurry up and study and get this stuff done. And I was getting frustrated. My mind was starting to hurt. I was just like, this is not working. These words don't look like words. I started feeling dyslexia come upon me. It was a lot going on. And so I felt the Holy Spirit tell me, go downstairs, lay on the couch, and rest. And so I went downstairs, I laid on the couch, and I literally just closed my eyes. I didn't go to sleep at first. I did fall into a sleep at some point, but I just was laying there, and I literally just took my time to just lay there. Before I did this, there was an answer I was searching for. I kid you not. After I finished laying down, the very answer that I was looking for, it came to me.
I love
But
that.
I had to go be still and actually rest. And I started telling people, like, God was showing me how to rest in his presence,
Mhm.
how to literally use that time of, as I would say, like meditation, use that time of meditation to begin to center yourself. You see, they use a lot of words, but the words really stem back to the Bible. And it's necessary for us to take those still moments. I personally feel like it's necessary. I need to do it every day. Like, when I wake up in the morning,
Mhm.
what I've been actively trying to practice is, instead of me running into the day, how about I allow myself to even just wake up and process, because I done went to sleep. and I might have some things on my mind. How do I process coming into this day? Something that I notice is that when I go into the day very fast, that's where the anxiety happens. But if I allow myself to kind of just process into the day, I like slow starts into the day. That might mean waking up a little earlier. That's fine. But I've learned, like, even in those moments where when I wake up, I might play the soaking music, I might play the Bible, and I just allow myself to just sit there for some time. And it reminds me of the scripture where it talks about Mary and Martha, and how Martha was so busy, trying to do things. And she's like, Jesus, why are you not telling Mary to do this?
Yeah,
And he's like, Mary knows what's up. She's
yeah,
sitting at my feet. I'm paraphrasing, guys, but
yeah,
she's
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
at my feet. The very thing that you should be doing. And so I love that you even highlighted being still, because I think that that's something that we miss out on. The stillness is actually the place where you can receive clarity, where you can receive instructions, where you can see. It's literally you become able to receive because the noise has been silenced.
Yeah, I love that. I love that story so much, and I feel like I've had a similar thing happen to me recently because just like I said, like I'm just so busy all the time. So I've been pretty good the last couple years at getting up and going. Like I feel better physically, so I've been going to the gym and working out a
Uh
little
huh.
bit. So I made a commitment to myself and I've been pretty consistent at going to the gym, but I am still not good at my personal study. I shouldn't say that because I love listening to podcasts. I love
Yeah.
listening to other people tell me what the scriptures mean. Right? Like I just feel like when I read the scriptures myself, I don't even understand what it's saying half the time. So I like love having other people explain it to me. However, I had a really cute friend that told me a couple months ago that she made a commitment to she has a date with God. So
Yeah.
she said every Tuesday from 6 to 8 she goes in somewhere in her car all by herself and
Mm.
just like has a date with God. And I was like and I just for some reason that really stuck with me and I was like I need to do something like that. And so I kind
Yeah.
of used the concept of habit stacking like
Yeah. I love
in
that.
that one book, right? So I was like, well, I'm
Atomic
pretty good.
habits. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been pretty good at going to the gym. So I'm just going to set my alarm 30 minutes earlier and I'm going to get up and I'm going to study my scriptures and go to the gym. Well, I did that. I set my alarm 30 minutes earlier and I got up 30 minutes earlier, but then I just like got busy and I went to the gym and
Ah.
I still wasn't
Yeah.
doing the scripture study. So what I
Yeah.
did after I realized, like after 2 weeks, I'm like, this is not
Uh-huh.
working. I actually I actually took my scripture and I put it in my car. So what I've been
That's smart.
doing, yeah, I what I've been doing is I go to the gym and then when I come out of the gym, I just stay in the
Yeah.
parking lot at the gym. So
Yes.
I've been studying in my car. And sometimes it's only 5 minutes, sometimes it's 30. But
Yeah.
I've been just like opening and like not even picking a specific thing, but just like wherever it opens and just starting to read a verse or two.
Yeah.
And every single time, just like you're saying, God is so good because I've had so many questions and so many things that I've been wondering about,
Yeah.
and He's answering all of my questions. Like
Yes.
literally, the words that I'm thinking about are in the verses that I open, and then I like
Yes.
go to the footnotes, and it takes me here, and I go to the footnote, and it takes me here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this so much.
Yes.
It's been so good.
The fact that you said she had a date with God, it
I know, I
again.
love
This
it.
is such a perfect timing conversation, because my one of my sisters and I, we had set a time for us to pray every week. We're praying on Tuesdays at 6 a.m. Right, and I had told her, I was like, I need this because God has been telling me get back to having my, I call it my appointed time. This is
Yeah.
my appointed time where I spend time with God. Period. And so this morning she ended up over, I think she might have overslept, I don't know, but it didn't happen this morning, and I felt like God was telling me, but still commit to that time that you
Mhm.
said was mine. And so his time, I was like, oh my goodness, so this is for somebody needs to hear this. I realized I kept trying to set unrealistic expectations around doing the things that I know I should do or I want to do. Instead, I made it easy for me to show up. So how you just mentioned, you put it in the car.
Yep.
I'm leaving the gym. I'm gonna get in the car. So I'm making it easy for me to flow into doing it. And what God told me to do for myself is I was trying to get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. That wasn't working. That's not what time I naturally wake up. I naturally wake up about 5:45, 6 o'clock. And God had told me at 6 o'clock, that's my time. And then right after that, 7 o'clock, that's gym. That's either gym or workout time, and then start the day. Because the one thing that I know about myself is if I don't do those two things in the morning, my day is off. And then
Right.
I'm feeling off the rest of the day.
Hmm.
And so there's this beauty in making one thing I just want to really like just emphasize is that the things that we want to do or we desire to do, they don't have to be hard. We don't have to challenge ourselves so much that it becomes hard to fulfill that very thing. I know for me, I told myself I need to read my Bible and I also need to get this exercise in. So how do I make it easy? I, like you said, I'm starting to back to habit stacking, but I make the habits easy to flow in. I told one of
Hmm.
my friends a few weeks ago, I said, a word that God gave me is He said, create environments that make it easy for you to succeed.
Yeah.
Literally, you create the environment that makes it easy for you to succeed.
I
So
love that.
for me, like I'm the only person that lives in my house. I'm the only person that has to do the dishes and cook and all of this stuff. And God took me back to a time when I literally made it easy for me to succeed. Sundays were meal prep days because I knew I would be busy on the other days, and so by
Hmm.
prepping I was able to make it easy for me to make the right decisions. And God just, He literally was just showing me like, instead of making things hard, create patterns that make it easy. So again, Tuesdays, I know on Tuesdays I'm doing podcasts. I don't have to figure out when can I get people on the podcast, when can I meet with them. No, it's Tuesday. That's why I said it. Tuesday at 7 p.m. because it makes it easy for me to show up. Even with content creation, I've learned, as a social media manager and a content creator, I have to set Ashley time for creation. How do I
Yeah.
make this easy? I just set a pattern that I can stick to and be consistent with. Somebody needed to hear that. Y'all welcome.
I love that. I love it. Perfect.
So another question that I have for you is, what are some gut health imbalances?
Imbalance.
Or yeah, or how do you identify mm, yeah, take it as you will.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the gut, I feel like most of us just think that that has to do with our stomach. So, so like I
I
said,
am most of us.
I knew I had gut issues because I had stomach aches. But I have people who have had migraines and who had allergies and who had autoimmune diseases. I have a friend who was waking up like this. She was in her 30s and she was waking
Yeah.
up like this because she had arthritis symptoms and she'd gone to the doctor and they were going to put her on a dose of, I don't even know what it's called. I don't know what it's called, but it was like basically low dose chemo that they told her that she was
Oh
going to
wow.
inject herself with in order to address the symptoms she was having. She
Yeah.
started working on her gut health and getting those nutrients in her body and moving her body, and she totally healed. So it's like
Wow.
there's so many different things that are caused because our gut is out of balance. And so the way that it works is, so like I said, the gut is anything from our mouth to the other end. And our body is supposed to have bacteria in it, right? So it's got good bacteria and it's also got a little bit of bad bacteria. And that bad bacteria is supposed to be there because it's something to do with our liver and kidney functions, right?
Hmm.
But what happens is that because of the society that we live in, there are so many things that feed the bad bacteria that
Hmm.
we eat so much processed foods, we eat a lot of sugar, we go get a steroid shot, we take antibiotics, we have stress. And what happens is all of a sudden, and throughout the years, we're walking around with all of this bad bacteria that outweighs the good bacteria,
That's
right?
good. Yeah.
And so the supplements that I started to take that address this build up the good bacteria. So you've probably heard of a
Mm.
probiotic, right? So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
probiotics actually build up the good bacteria. And that's great. The problem is that most probiotics, if you just take a probiotic, it builds up the good bacteria, but then you poop it out. You build up the good bacteria and then you poop it out. It doesn't do anything to address the bad
Ah.
bacteria,
Hmm.
right? So the supplements that I started to take that helped with this, they actually have a really good probiotic in it that builds up the good bacteria, but it also has a digestive enzyme inside the same capsule, and it breaks down the bad bacteria. And that's what I was talking about, where it's called it's referred to as candida yeast. So candida yeast actually has a hard candy shell on it, and it's really hard to break down.
How do you spell that?
Candida, C-A-N-D, I-D-A, C-A-N-D-I-D-A, I think. And so, yeah, candida yeast. And that
Okay.
candida yeast is really hard to break down. But so the supplements that I started taking actually address both. It builds up the good bacteria, it breaks down the bad bacteria at the same time. And when you can break down and get rid of that bad bacteria, and you can get your body back to the point where the good
Mm,
bacteria outweighs the bad bacteria, that's when the
yeah.
symptoms start going away. And again, like, we are all different, so
Right.
we have different symptoms, right? So
Yeah.
it could be inflammation, it can be um, and so for me, my stomach aches went away pretty quick. It took a little bit longer for the heartburn to go away, but I didn't even know it had anything to do with my anxiety and depression. But as I started
Wow.
healing on the inside, my body started creating all those hormones naturally that it's supposed to
Yeah.
create. And then I was gradually able to wean off of my anxiety medication, and now my body
Mm,
knows how to process those emotions, right? And and then the other thing, like the big hype right now, is the GLP-1, right? You've probably heard people talking about those GLP-1 peptides that people are taking to lose weight. Well, what that GLP-1 is actually another hormone inside your body, which
mm,
is a natural hormone that your body's supposed to create. But again, because of the bad bacteria out imbalance in our guts, a lot
got
of
you.
people don't, their body is not automatically creating that GLP-1 hormone, which is one of the reasons that people gain weight and they're not able to lose it.
That's
But when
good.
you're able to support your body naturally, then your body will automatically create that GLP-1 hormone, which that's why for me, my body just automatically started to thin out and the inflammation
Mm,
started to go away. And again, it was about getting the nutrition in my
yeah.
body that my body needed, and then also moving my body, right? I had to stop, I
Yeah.
had to get up and move, exercise. And again, for
Yeah.
me, it was just walking at first. I started after after that. I really like weightlifting, and I think it's fun, and that's when I go to the
Yeah.
gym. I've been doing weightlifting to get stronger,
Yeah.
right? But for a couple of years, it was mainly just walking,
Hmm.
just getting out of the chair and moving
Yes.
around, because that you
Literally.
can't just sit here like this all day long and
Right.
expect your body not to hurt. That's just, it's just gonna,
Yeah. That
right?
something that you mentioned that another guest mentioned. So I had a trainer on here, a weight loss specialist slash trainer, and I love how he even mentioned like just get started, and he said that could be something easy like
Mhm.
going for walks.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Once again, the conversation I had today with the nutritionist and the doctor. Stuff I already know, but I told them, I said it's so funny that I'm
This one's
sharing this.
not answering, is answering your questions.
I said I just need somebody to tell it to me again to get me started. I said
Yep.
I know the answers, I know what to do, but I think for me, I just needed some more accountability because by myself, I clearly was not keeping myself accountable. And now that I know that the lady's going to be calling me in the next 2 weeks, it's like, yeah, might as well go ahead and give this
Yeah.
a shot. Listening to the advice you gave that I already knew. The funny thing is, I have a book. I think it's downstairs. I have a book and it talks about food. It's called something like the foods that harm and the foods that heal. And that's actually what started opening my mind up to like learn more about how food affects the body. And it doesn't just talk about food, it also goes into it goes into like different
The
I
media.
would say like diseases that
Yeah.
we have, and it was showing us like how certain things add to you experiencing this, what's harming you, and what's leading to it, and how to possibly prevent it.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm
I
reading
love
this book
that.
and I'm like, yo, this is so good.
Yeah.
And now it's like I need to move from yo, this is so good to yo, I'm doing this. This is really good. This makes sense. And I think that's where I'm at now. Is it's so funny because over the weekend, um I had told my family, I told them on Saturday, I was like, yeah, I really wanted to buy this juicer because I like juicing. But my juicer, it sucks now, my old juicer. And so I was like, yeah, I really want to buy this juicer, but it cost $500. The one I want actually costs $700. And I was like, I want this juicer so bad, y'all. I said, but you know what? I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna spend my money on it. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient. And I had told them it was one at Walmart that was cheaper. I think it was like 180, something like that. And I was like, I'm gonna just wait and I'll just get this one in the meantime. So I got off the phone with my mom and my auntie. And then hours later, I went to bed and I woke up at 2 a.m. And I was like, yeah, I feel like that juicer would really help me out. I feel like it would get me back into enjoying, like, just eating fruits and vegetables. Plus, my body has been craving it. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to look at the Walmart juicer again. And I was like, I don't want this Walmart juicer. And so I started calculating my money. And I was like, I really got enough money in the budget to be able to get this other juicer. Not the one I want, the $700 one. I said, but if I just take it easy, and I don't try and go buy too many things, I get this $500 one.
I
So
love
I
it.
kid you not, on Sunday, I called my mom and my auntie and I said, I got a confession. And they were thinking, I don't know what they were thinking. They were like, okay, Ashley, like, tell us the confession. I was like, bad things happen at 2 a.m. I said, I bought that juicer. I got that $500 juicer. And let me just tell you, I'm going to make some videos about it because it's taking me to the next level. Yesterday, when I went to the stove, all I got was fruits and vegetables. And I kid you not, making juice yesterday and today was so easy. I can't wait to get off this call because I'm going to go make me another
I love
juice. And instead of like, because usually after I get off the podcast, I'll have like a heavy meal. I don't want that. I really want to go make me another nice heart. I'm using the book that I told you about. I got a juice Bible. It's called the Juice Bible. And I have that things that harm and things that heal. And so I've been trying to like learn like just the different food groups. And so I was looking in the Juice Bible and it was talking about things that are good, juices that are good for your heart. So yeah, just so you know, Kristen, I'm gonna go make that heart healthy juice as soon as we get off. But I do have two more questions for you before we
You'll have to send me that book, the one you're talking about with the foods, because like that would be interesting. I'd love to look at that one.
get off. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure I do that. It's so funny because usually it's sitting right next to me, but I put it in a spot where I can see it in the kitchen. Cause seeing
Okay.
it in my office don't do me no justice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just
Okay,
really
go
quick,
ahead.
while you were talking about
Yeah,
motivation
go
and
ahead.
having somebody else motivate you, I am exactly like that too, and I think that's one of the reasons that I feel like getting the coaching programs that I signed up for over the years was
Uh-huh.
so helpful for me because I am not very good at holding myself accountable either. And when
Hmm.
it was always when I had somebody else hold me accountable that I that it worked a lot better. I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to be better at holding myself accountable, but at the beginning I was not really good at that either.
Yeah.
And so having a coach hold me accountable made such a difference. It was huge.
For me, it's like once I get some momentum, I hold myself accountable. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when I get into a space where I need to start something, I just need somebody to get the juices flowing,
Yeah.
keep me going, get me ready. Like last year, I started back playing basketball. I have a basketball coach, and all I needed him to do was just get me back into like exercising.
Yeah.
He got me back to playing basketball, and then it was like, oh, I want to go exercise, I want to go walk, I want to go do all these things. And I think just by saying this, number one, don't underestimate the power of a coach. Like
Yeah.
coaches really do help. They help you get started. They help you build a
Hmm.
foundation. They literally help you. And also don't underestimate the power of just taking the first step.
Yeah.
First step could be
Absolutely.
walking. First step could be
And
going to
sometimes
make a
it's just
juice.
an accountability partner too. I feel like even
Right.
when I wanted to do something like go to the gym, it was like, hey, call a friend down the street. Like you've been wanting to go to the gym too, right? Let's do it together so that
Yeah.
like I'm more willing to get up at 6:30 in the morning if I know I am meeting somebody there and they're expecting me to be there.
You want to know the reason why I've been able to make it to the gym at 6 a.m.? Cause I started meeting somebody at the gym at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I meet one of my friends on Fridays at 6 a.m. and it was like just meeting her the one time made me realize, oh, I can get here the rest of the week.
Yeah.
I agree. I need the accountability, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Yep. That's great.
So my two last questions. One is a favorite. One is my favorite question I like to ask every single guest, and that is, if you could leave us with a mindset shift, thinking about where they are now in their mind and where you would want them to be. What is the mindset shift that happens in the in between?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to pay attention to what you're paying attention to. So it's just that awareness, right? Like not even trying to change anything, just start paying attention to where your thoughts go when things happen and what you're and the things that you're paying attention to, because one of the main mindset shifts for me was that I learned how to focus on what I wanted instead of focusing on what I didn't want. Because I don't know if you've ever paid attention to the words that you're using even. um, I learned this again in the coaching program that I went through, and I had an experience one time where we went on a hike, and we were hiking up to this mountain, or we were hiking up this trail, and we get to this lake, and one of my friends points over across to the other side of the lake, and she was like, "That's the cliff we're going to jump off of." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Like I had totally missed the memo that morning when everybody was planning the hike that we were going to jump off of anything, let alone into a cold body of water. And
Yeah.
so I didn't wear everybody else wore their swimming suit underneath their clothes. And I didn't, because I didn't realize that's what we were doing. So like from the second that she mentioned that that's what the plan was, like I was totally focused on being cold. So as we walked the rest of the way around the lake, I was already cold. Like I had goosebumps I had goosebumps because I was already cold. And because I had been going through this process already and like paying attention to where my thoughts were, I noticed that that's what was happening. So I kind of shifted my mindset around it, and I decided,
Mm,
and I literally started this chant, and I was like, my heart is warm, my body's warm, my soul is warm. And it was interesting because as I changed my mindset shift around what I was focusing on, I could literally feel the sun beating on my skin,
yeah.
and then I was warm, right? But then I would
Yeah.
look across the lake and I would see the cliff, and I'd be like, oh crap, I don't want to be cold though. And then I'd have goosebumps again.
Yeah.
Then I'd like reset my mindset, and I'd be like, my heart is warm, my body's warm, my soul is warm, and then I could feel the warm sun on my skin. And so, like,
Yeah.
have you ever had something like that happen where
Mm-hmm.
just by changing what you're focused on, focusing on the positive instead of focusing on the negative, and you can do that with any aspect of your life, right? Even in regards to like money. Like, are you focused on the fact that you don't want to have bills? Because if you are focused on not having money and not wanting to have bills, then the bills are just going to keep piling up and
Right.
piling up and piling up. Whereas if you can change your shift and change the words that you're using and talk about wanting to live an abundant life, right? I want to live an abundant life. I want to be able to go take my kids to do things fun, and I want to be able to do this. Then I'm focused on the good things that I want in life rather than focusing
Right.
on the things that I don't want. And actually,
Right.
there's another gym example, right? I go to the gym, and it's hard. Like when I go to a class at the gym, and it's all this cardio stuff, and I'm like, they're like having us do all these things, and I'm like sweating, and I'm dying. I
Yeah.
literally like would say that out loud, right? I would say to the person next to me, like, this is killing me. And then all of a sudden, because I've been working on this and I've been learning
Right.
about it, I was like, what am I saying? My
Yeah.
body, if I'm focused on the fact that this is killing me, is that going to make my body stronger? No,
Mm-mm.
right? So I literally did this mindset shift, and I started telling myself, this is making me stronger. This is making me healthy. This is
Yes.
making me stronger. And I actually told this story to one of the girls that was there coaching, and a couple weeks later she's like, have you been doing that thing where you were talking about making it strong, making, changing your mindset shift? And she goes, and I said, yeah. And she goes, I can tell, like, you're showing up different.
Yes.
But what is our body gonna do if we're talking about, same thing with weight, right? Like if we're
Yeah.
always focused on losing weight,
Yeah.
we're focused on the weight. Instead, if we can change the mindset and focus on being healthy,
Come on.
focus on being strong, right?
Yeah.
So
That's good.
it's just paying attention to the words that you're using. So I think that's one of the main things and around a mindset shift. And again, I don't do it the perfect way all the time, but I think I've done it long enough that there's an awareness around it that even when I don't think the right thing or use the right words, I notice. And then I
Yeah.
and then sometimes, especially like when I'm having conversations with my husband, right? Like sometimes I'd still like, you're bugging me. Right? And sometimes I'm in a mood where I'm tired and I'm hungry, and sometimes I still snap at him
Yeah.
but I notice that I snap at him, and sometimes
Yeah.
I back up and I apologize,
Yeah.
and then the conversation goes in a whole different way, and sometimes I'm just tired and hungry and I don't, and we get in
Yeah.
an argument, right? So it's like it's not about being perfect in the way that you're doing it. It's still just being aware and noticing because the
Yeah.
more that you notice, the more you can change it.
That's
And
so
that's
good.
the thing that I've noticed, the transformation that I've made over the years and that I've helped my clients make over the years is that if you start to pay attention and you start to notice, then there will be a transformation. Because
Yes.
if you're paying attention, you can make the changes.
Drops mic. That I'm gonna be honest with you. That almost I feel like it takes away from the last question because, but I'm still ask. Before I do that, I want to know where can the people find you if they want to connect with you for the coaching, if they want to learn more about the German new all of that good jazz. Kid, I don't remember how to say it. If they want to learn more about the German new medicine, if they just want to learn or talk to you more, how can they get in connection with you on these internet streets?
So I have two Instagram accounts. One is called Body and Spirit, body.and.spirit. And on that Instagram account, I talk a lot about relationship stuff, how to improve your relationships or make your relationships better, and a lot of mindset shifts. I also have another one called Healthy underscore Kristen, Kristen. And on that one, I do a lot of gut health, physical, like talk about the physical health and tips on how to just feel better physically. I talk about a little bit of both of them on both, but those are my two Instagram accounts. And yeah, people can message me there. Or I have a web page that I'm working on. It's Body and Spirit Coaching. It's it's I'm still working on it. So if you go there, it's a little bit it's in the process.
It's not at the end, guys. It's processing. It's loading.
Yeah, it's actually just a template right now. I just barely like published it a couple days ago, so it doesn't even have any of my information on it. But if you're watching this down the road, hopefully my body and spirit coaching website will be available.
2 months later, guys, you
Yeah.
see this video again here at the podcast when the episode officially comes out on what is the darn platforms called, Apple and Spotify.
Yes.
Whoo, that was rough on Apple and Spotify. By that time, website will be done. You
Yeah,
guys will
for
be able
sure.
to get it.
Follow me on Instagram, and I also have a Facebook. And feel free to message me there too. Like if anybody wants to chat, I do think I in my bio on both of those Instagrams, I've got a link tree on there that has a place where. And actually, I'm willing to offer to anybody who's listening to this a free session. And if I love to just I can give you some quick tips and go over some if you're feeling anything that you want to chat about or whatever. Just yeah, there's a link on there where you can book a free session. So yeah.
I will highly suggest it. You know, I got a lot of free tidbits tonight. The first session, that's why I had to bring you on so I get my free little doses.
Love it.
But but seriously, this has been a really helpful, very helpful and well timed episode. I thank God how He arranges who I meet with because they always speak to me exactly where I am, and this spoke to me literally
Oh, I love
as
it.
I'm becoming healthier,
Yes.
becoming healthier.
Yes.
I love the mindset shift. That was perfect. And just the fact that literally the whole show is about mindset and that shift was literally, it was very perfect. The last question I love to give people before we depart is if you have any final words that you want to share with the people, now is the time. The floor is yours.
Oh, we've talked about so many things already. Yeah, I just love people. I don't know if you get I love so seriously, don't hesitate if you want to book a session and just talk because I love to just meet new people and talk to new people. So I I love getting to know people.
And I think that part is evident. You definitely seem like a people person.
Good.
Like, let me just help everybody. Do you need help? Would you
Yeah,
like
that's pretty much all it
accountability?
is.
I got you.
Yes. Well, and the interesting thing is that every time I have a conversation, I learn something too, though, right? Like
Yeah.
I like just having your experiences and the things that you've brought to the conversation today too. Like I feel like I've also learned something from it, and I love that. I love that connection.
That makes me feel better because I was over here learning as much as I can from you. So to know I might have gave you
I
just a
love
little
it.
something and you've given me the scale is not balanced, but I won in
That's
my
not
heart
true.
because I gave something.
Yes, because I've watched several of your episodes too, and you are so cute and amazing. You bring this amazing energy, and I think it's so amazing what you're doing.
Are you trying to make me cry?
It's true. And I think
I'm gonna cry.
I love the aspect of spirituality that you bring into it too because God is so good. Jesus
Yeah.
is God. Like what else? I mean, what else is it about? But
Yeah,
sharing
we
Jesus.
gotta
So
we gotta make sure they know them my homies,
hmm
Big G and Lil J.
I love it.
I have so many jokes, but I'm gonna stay professional. Guys, thank you for tuning in to tonight's episode. No, seriously, thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's show. I'm so grateful that you came to the table to sit with Kristen and I. I hope that you learned something as much as I've learned something. And once again, I would say please connect with her. Go follow her on Instagram. Go and get that free consultation.
Yeah.
You know, that free tidbit that she's offering because in life nothing is free unless somebody tells you, so you might want to get it while it's on the table. But anyway, guys, once again, just want to say thank you for tuning in with us, supporting us on the journey. And tomorrow we have an episode. On Thursday we have an episode, and I can't wait to see you guys at the table during our next conversation. So with that, I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.